Welcome to this explainer on innovation, specifically the creative pursuit of ideas. Let's just dive right in, because, so often we treat innovation like it's this elusive magic trick, right? Like it's reserved only for eccentric geniuses. But today, we're going to see that innovation is actually a highly practical, step-by-step toolkit. It's really not just about winning some genetic lottery. So before we really get going, I want you to ask yourself, when you think of the word innovator, who actually comes to mind? Do you picture some historical figure in a black turtleneck, or maybe a guy sitting under a tree just waiting for an apple to hit him on the head? Well, we are absolutely going to challenge that myth today. Innovation isn't just sitting around waiting for a miraculous lightning bolt of inspiration. It's a deliberate process, and one that we can actually break down and learn together. Here is our clear, 5-part roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to start with spotting opportunities, then move through the creative process, explore whole brain thinking, break down 4 exact types of innovation, and finally arm you with the golden rules of the road. Okay, Section 1, spotting new opportunities. The search for new ideas. Because honestly, you really can't innovate if you don't know what you're looking for. To lay our foundation here, we need to understand that innovation is not just daydreaming. It is the purposeful, creative pursuit of turning a spotted opportunity into a real, marketable solution. It's this powerful combination of having the vision to create a good idea and the sheer perseverance to stick with it all the way through implementation. Now, what's really fascinating is just how ordinary the origins of massive innovations can be. Seriously, ideas are all around us. They often spring from simple societal trends, like noticing an aging demographic that needs senior living solutions, or maybe a growing focus on health and fitness. Or they come from process needs, like a sudden demand for sugar-free products. And sometimes they come from totally unexpected occurrences, like the massive disruptive success of Uber. Opportunities are constantly out there signaling shifts in how people think. You just have to tune your radar to pick them up. Moving on to Section 2, the 4-step creative process. So once you actually spot one of these everyday opportunities, how do you process it? Well, creativity is actually a highly structured engine, and it runs on 4 distinct phases. First up, you have knowledge accumulation. This is where you do extensive reading, talk to people, and just soak up background information. Next is the incubation process. This is where you step back and let your subconscious mull over everything you've just learned. Maybe you go for a run, maybe you play a board game. Then comes phase 3, the idea experience. That's that thrilling, sudden eureka moment when the solution finally clicks. And finally, phase 4, evaluation and implementation. Honestly, this is the hardest step. It requires real courage and self-discipline to test the idea, fail, and rework it until it actually functions. But here's the thing. In the real world, these phases don't just march in a straight line. As you'll see, they are deeply interrelated. It's a completely nonlinear process. That means your subconscious incubation phase will often send you right back to the beginning to gather more knowledge, or a new idea might force you right back into incubation. The creative process is this dynamic, living system. It is definitely not a strict one-way street. Which brings us to Section 3, using your whole brain. To run this creative engine smoothly and navigate that messy, nonlinear process, you are going to need both hemispheres of your brain working in total harmony. We so often think of business and entrepreneurship as purely left brain activities, right? Highly analytical, logical, rational, linear. But true innovators have to aggressively blend those left brain traits with right brain characteristics. The right brain is synthesizing, it's imaginative, it's intuitive. It's the side that sees analogies and spatial relationships that other people completely miss. So, if you want to develop this, you literally have to practice bridging the gap. By suspending your initial judgments and combining the organized timetables and logic of your left brain with the wild, crazy metaphors of your right brain, your mind becomes perfectly wired to solve complex problems. You have to train yourself to write down a highly logical solution, dream up a wildly unconventional one, and then smash them together to create something entirely new. All right, Section 4, 4 types of innovation. These are 4 distinct blueprints you can actually use to bring an innovative idea to the market. Look, you don't have to invent an airplane from scratch to be an innovator. While invention, like the Wright brothers, is absolutely one type, there are others that are just as impactful. You could be a massive innovator through extension. That means finding a new use for something that already exists, kind of like Mark Zuckerberg did with Facebook. Or duplication, which is creatively replicating an existing concept and improving it. That is exactly what Walmart did with the department store model. Finally, there's synthesis, which is combining existing concepts into a totally new formulation. I mean, Howard Schultz didn't invent coffee, right? He synthesized existing European cafe culture with American fast service to create Starbucks. You just choose the blueprint that fits your idea. And our final section, Section 5, Myths and Golden Rules. Let's sweep away some of those intimidating hurdles that hold people back. A lot of people freeze up because they fall victim to these major misconceptions. Some folks think innovation must be perfectly planned, entirely predictable, and requires massive projects with fully prepped technical specs before you even start. On the flip side, others think it relies purely on random daydreaming, blue sky ideas, and sheer luck. Well, the crucial takeaway here is that both extremes are completely false. It's not rigid predictability, and it's not just a lucky dream. The empowering reality of innovation is much more concrete. Successful innovators are, above all else, action-oriented. They keep their products undeniably simple and hyper-focused on the customer. They start small, but they aim incredibly high. They're never afraid to try, test, and revise constantly. They eagerly learn from their failures instead of letting those failures defeat them. And at the end of the day, as that last rule says, work, work, work. Real innovation requires perseverance. So what does this all mean for us? Innovation isn't a genetic gift, it's a learned process, and you already have the mental tools and the blueprints to make it happen. So look around your world today. Look at the trends, the frictions, the incongruities. What everyday opportunity are you going to creatively pursue and evaluate today?